All right, so this is where we left off, and it's called Mountain Meadows. Is that right, Natalie?
That is correct. Mountain Meadows.
Mountain Meadows, okay. So everything is really unfinished. We need to develop this a little more, this, and certainly this also. So that's my goal today, is to add detail and add changes in colors to make it more interesting. The mountain just looks a little too, it's not bad. It's got some different darker and lighter colors, and I like the light down here, but I'll still play with it a little bit. Here it's pretty flat green in here, so there'll be a lot of activity here, and certainly a lot more also here. Okay, so, well, let's just get started by just putting a little more cloud around. Yeah, that area here. So there's activity, and it comes up here, and then there's a little more, and then there's a little streak across the top. I sort of have the top pretty good, but there's a lot more here. I'm just putting the paint down, then I'm going to be smearing it around. Okay, I'm going to wipe the brush off of any more white paint because I want to just smear it. Well, let me take some clear. A little more clear. I like a nice random look here. I'm gonna just dip my I just put some water on the brush just so I can move the paint around a little bit more. I want the feeling of the sky being blown right across the painting. All right, let's just let that settle a little bit. Okay, and now let's see. I noticed there's just a couple of little bit of dots along here. I can do dots also. All right, just let's see. I sort of like everything there. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm gonna just leave yeah, I'll leave that alone. Now I'm going to really jump in and work on the green. All right, so the green here has a little bit of lighter green. So I'm gonna just lighten it up a bit. You know, the reflection is really tough. I'm gonna have to turn it so I can see a little more of yeah. So I have the dark background and it's coming through now a little bit lighter surface, which is good. Now I really want to work on the edge here. It's a rough edge and you're seeing the tips of some of the trees coming up, and I haven't shown any of that here. So let's just go fairly dark. I'm gonna rest my hand, and what I want to do is I need to get some more dark here. Yeah, I want to make an irregular edge here, showing treetops. Well, that's it. At different heights, we don't want to make it repetitious at all. So there's one that goes pretty high here. Let's do that. Sometimes it might even take a second coat of paint. I would just as soon do it like that. Let it dry and come back and hit it one more time. But it's fairly dark. All right. Now we're making it more irregular. It goes up a little higher. Okay, more. So, and even the bottom, you see it already has one coat, but I need to make it darker. So I'm even making the bottom here also as we move across. A little different. Nature is not ever just a straight shot across, not really. It's usually various shapes and various colors. Even if it's generally dark, I'll be making this lighter because I've got it pretty dark, but I'll be making it lighter. Right now, I'm just adding here. You can add and you can subtract, which means subtracting means you can either paint over it. Sometimes if you're quick enough, you can just rub it out. But I'm doing okay here. Yeah, all right. Let me go more on the top. I'm making it a little darker here. Okay, how about over there? I got that. There's a big bunch here and another bunch there. Yep. I'm not trying to emulate that. I'm just seeing where they've got some activity, and I'm going to do the same thing. And then over there, it jumps quite a lot up here. And there's another one right there. Take some paint from there, build it up here. All right, that's looking a lot better along there now. Sure, it looks like shrubbery. So every layer gets more detail. Now, it's funny, the way I paint, I like detail. Some people keep it clean and simple. They don't really want detail. Other people paint abstract. They don't even care that it has to look like a shrubbery. So I don't really label myself, and I talked to Natalie about this earlier, that I'm an impressionist, because some impressionism is really just an impression. They don't even try to come close to making all this detail. But I'm not a realism painter either. I paint to my own satisfaction. And so I do my impression or my interpretation, and I don't want to label myself, I'm this or I'm that. I'm just a painter, because if I label myself, then I limit myself. So I just paint, and I just paint how I'm feeling that any particular day, and if I'm more detailed sometimes, so be it. So now I've given an edge, but what about the body of the work? Well, the body of this one, I'm gonna do a little creative stuff here. By blending in a lighter color, because this shrubbery, now I'm taking license, because this shrubbery is in front, and it's a little different than that shrubbery. So I'm going to make it different by scumbling in, and if I overdo it, I will add some more black, like I'm going to do right now. But you can see it in a random way. I've changed the look of this shrubbery here, and I might even put another layer or so, but I want to differentiate. Yeah. So I want to make it light a little bit behind there, because I want to show that this is different than that. And generally speaking, I'm going to make this a little bit lighter here. And I'll make that darker. And it's very subtle, but I want to show this is popping out. It's a random popping out. Okay, yeah, now we're doing it. Poke, 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 poke. All right, so this looks now different than that. And that's my whole goal. And make it more interesting too. Okay, now what about this? There's a lighter color here, like I've got now. The only difference is there's a grayish look. Okay, so I'm gonna clean the brush out. Dry it a little bit on the paper towel, and then I want to go to grays. Now here's gray. I have two grays here. This is a very gray, blackish gray, and here's a creamy gray. I'm gonna mix them, and I'm gonna just touch a little bit off. Now what I want to do is take the side of the brush and just build here. Just a little bit there. A lot more there. And it's a grayish, quiet color. Very subtle, but it's definitely here. So this is what I'm talking about when we add detail. And detail, I think, makes the painting more authentic and more interesting. And I'm just using the side and very lightly kissing the canvas. How's that sound? Just giving it a little kiss here and there. Yeah, we want it just enough so your eye will realize there's subtleties in the dark green, and this has subtleties with a sort of a yellowish lighter color, and here we have a grayish lighter color. Yeah, just like here and here, and it looks like it's just the tops of the shrubbery. Yeah, that get it. All right, now it's looking more interesting. Just by doing this, we have coloration differences here and there. Now I think I'm going to work on the roots here. So down here is green needles, but not as much. There's some needles down here, but mainly there's dark, almost black roots that are holding this tree up, but you can see through them. So I've sort of splashed them on last time to just to remind me that there's a broken look here. But let's refine it a little bit. I'm going to clean the brush. I'm still using the same brush here. I like that if I can take a brush and use it in different ways. So we're going to go almost black, mix it with green, and let's take a little bit of the clear to make it not so strong. And we'll just take this little pile and let's see. I want to make sort of strokes down a little bit, and I can build on them. So these are, well, they're like branches, not really. They're the base, they're the trunk of the trees here. So these are a cluster of trees, and we have random looking chunks on different angles and different widths coming down and clustering. So let's put this one on an angle this way. They're very random, but we want to make sure to have some light green breaking through. So I'm careful not to do too much. Yeah, that's looking decent. And then this is a shrubbery, so I want to go a little lighter. Right there like that. Gotta put a little more green in it there. Yep. Okay, so what are we doing today? We're doing detail. So detail means different strokes, and sometimes the strokes are lighter, like I just did, because some of those strokes are really pretty light. They're not strong, and some are strong. Random. That's the meaning of random. We like random. All right, so look at what we've done today so far. We've done a lot of changing of the greens, adding a better edge, random edge, more realistic, more like nature. And we've done all that nice top edge, but now we've got the bottom, the roots and the trunks of the trees coming through here. So we're changing that. This looks pretty good here, the mountain. Actually, if I really just take and wipe almost all that off, let's see if I can kiss this mountain a little bit with, yeah, dark, a little bit more dark. Yep. And over here, it's very subtle. I don't know if the camera Natalie can pick up like that. And I'm just, maybe I'm adding a little bit too much, but I can rub some of it off. But yeah, so we're yeah, talk about subtlety. All right. And then, of course, that nice pinkish glow on the top of the mountain will come later, and that will look pretty good. Okay, yeah, that's a little too strong. All right, I'm going to leave that alone now. So, we've been working sky, mountain, shrubbery, roots of the shrub, branches. It's looking better. We have a pretty decent background of greens and tans. I like all that. I need to do a little more tan work, but very subtle. So I'm using, I grabbed a little bit of the clear gel to mix in. And let's see what color I've got here. Yeah, I want it light. And a little bit of gray I'm going to mix in with this tan. So we're adding a newish color. See, I'm getting ready the background, and it comes across here because we're going to be putting in a lot of white or bluish white flowers in a moment, but I'm just getting a little more tan and a darkish tan, which means I'm taking a little dark, mixing it with the tan to give myself yep. Okay. A little more dark here. Tan and dark. All right, so it's tan. I'm going dark. A little bit here too. So it's just background. So I'm changing colors and setting myself up for, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. A little bit lighter. Look at all these little color subtleties you can play around with, you know, and add a little bit on top. All right, so we got some different colors here of the field. And now the big thing is, dun, 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 dun. I'm going to take a lot of clear, mix it with a bluish white, and even though I got it all over this brush, I'm just going to use the tip of the brush and touch. You see, look, I'm touching. If I want it bigger, I'm going to push harder and it spreads out, you see? If I want it small, oh, look at that. Is that small enough? Natalie, give me a break here. So I can use this same brush and put lots of activity. That's all it is. Random types of flowers all over. The only pattern I see is bigger circles here and smaller dots back there, okay? When it recedes back. So I must, all right, I'm gonna just load my brush here, even though I'm just taking the tip. I'm gonna use and just put small ones, a lot of them. That's not small enough. That's it. Yep. Bigger ones here. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. There they are, standing in a row. There stands me wife, the idol of my life. Sing and roll a bowl, a penny a pitch. I don't know why I'm singing that, but there was some refrain in that song about some as big as your head. Oh, they're talking about coconuts. So I'm making very tiny coconuts here.
I love that.
Yep. Sing and roll a bowl, a penny a pitch. Sing and roll a bowl. See, I can sing and do this little silly stuff. Just dabbing. That's nice. Little dabs. Tiny little dabs. But we want to have an impact. And I was talking to Natalie about it. You can't have strong there and have this sort of just weak. So what makes it strong? All of the activity of the flowers popping out in strength that gives it, so your eye won't just get attracted to these strong surfaces. Your eye will look at this also. It's in the foreground, so we want it to be definitely working for us. Okay, I'm going to just take a little off the brush and then put it on the tip. On the tip. Look at that. They're tiny. Who knew I could just look at tiny little guys here. But that's what we want, particularly back here. Do they? No, they stop around here, okay? So this is something, even after this class stops, you can keep putting these little dots around, right? You can see the effect of it. And I've mixed some blue and I've left it in there, and even the paint, if you can see it here, the paint has a bluish cast because I see it up here. It's a bluish, so you can see there's white. So I'm using a bluish look right there. But it's just, bear in mind the smaller ones are further away and bigger, so I just press firmer and I get big ones. So I'm making it bigger. And they don't have to be circular, it can be whatever, it's random. Okay. So now the painting is getting pretty good. So what if I stopped pretty soon now and told you the next one will be the final one? I'll put in the beautiful glow on the mountain. I may just add a little more here and there if I see fit, and I will add more to the foreground. More bang, 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 bang. More of those. Okay, just using the tip of any kind of a pen just like this. So this is the workhorse for today, this pen. It did everything. So you can use it on the side and on the tip, or just whatever. So thank you again. It's fun wherever you are out there in YouTube land. And so I'll see you again soon.
Bye, guys.